Hello, hello, hello. I am Snuffleupagus, and we are here for the first day of the Fury of Dracula League of Dracula 2024 tournament. We have a great game today between newcomer JeelSandWhich playing the Hunters against Wyrmtalon playing Dracula. Here with me is the wonderful and talented, the very high ranking Captain Gyro. Say hey.
Oh, you do me great honor. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just glad to be on co-hosting with you. This should be a fun one as we get set up here. And it may be the first day of the League of Dracula tournament, uh, but it isn't the very first match. We've actually got another one going on right now as we speak that kicked off a little earlier between Strider and Skybreaker.
Yeah, this is cool. Actually, technically, our plan was to start this tournament about a week from now, but there's no reason not to start the games earlier if all parties agree. And in both the Strider Skybreaker game and this one, everyone wants to get going soon. Everyone's pumped, everyone's excited, and we're moving forward a little early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Everybody's really jazzed to get going. You love to see it.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to see the enthusiasm. We've had a slow stream of new players coming into the community lately, and this is going to be the first time to see some of those players shine. Um, And one of those new players is JeelSandWhich here, whom I hear a rumor around, heard on the grapevine, kind of playing around rumor that he may have already beaten a certain Scottish weapon in a pickup game. So
Oh, ho, ho.
maybe maybe a what's the word? A little dark horse candidate.
Yeah, watch out. They're coming. They're coming.
I was looking at the groupings and kind of seeing the matchup. If I had to pick someone, I would say Geo's kind of arguably got the hardest initial first set of opponents because he's playing Scott Sword and Pizza Wizard next week. And
As well as Wyrmtalon,
and
who's
Wormtown
an
is
experienced player.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he's been around the block at this point. He knows how to play.
oh yeah. And I think his last opponent was Quincy Morris, if I remember right. And Jill didn't get a single other new player in these first two random drawings. So
Interesting. And you can't take anyone for granted, of course, but there is sort of an element of expectation that as a newer player, you're going to be more prone to making certain mistakes because some of the mistakes in this game you can only learn by making them first, right? It's just experience is the greatest teacher, and this game is no different.
oh
So
yeah,
there's sort of a hope that if you're going up against somebody newer, maybe you'll get lucky as they uh, go through some of those growing pains of learning the game.
yeah. I'm
And
not
if
gonna
that
go.
happens, no shame to them. Yeah, it's just part of learning the game.
I'm gonna go off on a really tiny little baby tangent right now. Uh, I'm playing Burkmali this first phase, and the last time I played him was when I lost because I didn't remember how Enraged worked, and I kept trying to escape his bat, escape his bat, escape his bat, escape his mist, and it just wasn't doing anything. I'm so happy that our good friends at Nomad just added a little warning. Do not escape his bat. It will do nothing. You already used Enrage. You're
You're too
stuck here.
enraged.
You're too mad. So
Dracula too mad to escape.
that change comes from me not realizing why escapes weren't working in a game versus Burke Malley in New Blood. So that's the kind of an example of the kind of newbie mistakes you might make that I certainly made.
Exactly. Exactly.
So anyway,
Got to
lucky
read the
Worm
fine print.
indeed. So Wormtown says lucky for me did not start in Granada.
No,
Let's
we had
take
a
a look
local
at what we got
rumors
here.
go off.
Yeah, Mina's got a speedy telegraph draw to start. That's a pretty good draw. Will come in handy later. But it's also not one that you're going to be that frustrated if Dracula sees.
Yeah, that's one of those cards where if Dracula knows you have it, there's really not a whole lot that's going to change in terms of his calculations.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, maybe if he's very, very clever, he might think of a way to use that against you. But that's just one of those cards that Dracula has to deal with.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's really, as you're kind of suggesting, it's hard for Dracula to predict how that's going to work out or when the hunters would use something like that.
Right. Especially if that's all he knows. Now, if he knows they're holding on to a hypnosis, maybe he can plot around that perhaps, but yeah, it's Speedy Telegraph's a useful card if you have to show it like that. Let's see where Hired Scouts goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where Jill chooses to search here. Could rule out Ireland, hit some extremities maybe. Galatz and Bari, okay. Those are pretty extreme locations, but not where Dracula is right now.
Yeah,
Oof, here's another Hired Scouts.
I think the Galatz start might be a little bit overrated because Galatz is essentially uh, I mean it's not really any further away from them than 17 is it?
I think I agree with that. In most cases, I prefer to start a little bit further away than Glatz. Although I could see something clever. You might like try to, you know, put a bat there as your first one and bat the hunter that comes at you into the castle. That's kind of inconvenient. Of course, you could
Yeah.
also do a bat other places too, so maybe not super
Yeah, I
critical.
don't know. It's just like as far as going for an extremity location, I think 17 is probably better,
I tend to agree with that.
or even 56.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, especially because you can get creative there by putting something in 10 or 50. You know, that might stall people on their way there or
Mm-hmm.
on their way back.
But from 58, you take the train twice to get to 17, right? But you'd have to take the train 3 times to get to 56, assuming you didn't have a chartered carriage, right? You follow me there?
Yes.
So 56, I think, might be the superior location.
Yeah, I certainly start in 56 more than I start in 22. You're right. You need a charter carriage and a move, or you need two perfect horse horse rolls.
Because now if your newspaper comes up and it turns out it is Galatz, that's not such a big deal, right? You could maybe get there and deal with it
You maybe
with
have a
two
sense
days
of
of
emergency and
travel.
can hit it in one move.
You're right. Or maybe you could get there with your horses, right? We're talking about day 5 newspapers kind of situation, right? Fifth space.
So
Um,
I got a little
yeah.
sidetracked, and I didn't see where the second hired scout searches were. Did you happen to catch those?
Ah, that's my fault. I was talking the whole time.
No, it's fine. I'm looking back in the video to see if I can catch it.
Yeah, I was still thinking about his first hired scout
Yeah,
search.
when they come back to back like that,
Right, right. I missed it.
makes it hard for the commentator. So Galadz and Bari, okay, and then Mina hired scouts. It was Valona and Cologne. I don't know if I. Well, I guess you're ruling out Athens.
Well, if you
Oh,
didn't like it, we got another one now, so maybe you'll like
okay.
this one a little better.
I don't dislike it, but now maybe you can follow it up with Brussels and Sofia to really rule out those spaces.
Yeah, I tend to be a fan of trying to gain concrete information as fast as possible instead of like trying to sort of scattershot them in hopes you get lucky. But
Huh.
sometimes you just get lucky. Look at that. Right along the old Dracula highway.
Classic. So that'll be a big help. Can start clearing the trail a little quicker.
Huge.
Um,
First
but
encounter in Clermont-Ferrand. That's not bad when you consider, I mean, that's really not much of an extremity location, but he was hoping that by not going to extremity locations, he could avoid the hired scouts.
Yeah, I like that sort of start if I don't have a hoax or bodyguards or an aristocratic that I'm trying to mature. If I have a hand of a bunch of junk, I like to set up a situation in the middle where I'm going to do some damage to the hunters and delay them and bat them into something bad. Um, get a long trail going that when combined will be a problem. Pair a spy and a wolves or something. It can be quite
Hmm.
effective in this area with all these small cities. And then you can either stick around and try to take advantage of it by jumping on the hunter with Drac and trying to kill the hunter, or you can wolf away and leave the hunters starting back almost from square one, trying to figure out which direction you went, whether that's east or south to Italy, west to Spain, or up to the northern European coast. So it's a good start, especially if you're not trying to get a quick 7 points or a quick hoax mature.
Hmm. Yeah, another thing you can do is if you don't have the vampire that you want, or you don't have the hoax that you want, you put down, your wolves and your bodyguards and maybe a spy and have them lead up to the fighting vampire, right? So by the time they get to the vampire, not only have they taken a little bit of damage, but you've also maybe gotten to spy a weapon. Maybe they use their stake to search one of those places so you know who's holding on to the stakes and what their weapon is. And you can get a lot of information that way on what the individual hunter has. And then they get to the vampire and you can ambush them for some extra damage. Now they're really hurt by the time they stake it.
Yeah, I agree with that. You could also even just, if you have a bunch of aristocratics and such, you could just throw a bunch of aristocratics, make them start delaying each
If
other,
if
and kind
every
of.
card I think the delaying cards are Dracula's best cards, in my opinion. If every card delayed the hunters, he'd never be stopped. Like, think about it. If every time they searched at night they got delayed the next day, they'd never have a turn and they'd lose the whole game. Uh, so when you spend your action searching for a saboteur and you lose your turn the next day, I just think that's maybe a lot more significant than some people might realize.
It really is interesting as you play this game more how some of those cards that are not the kind of the iconic starter cards or not big tough vamps can still be quite useful. I was playing a game this morning and I didn't have anything good, so I doubled up um, two mobs, one the city and the other hide. Seward jumps on it, and boom, his health goes from 9 to 1 because both mobs hit him.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
I'm
tell me about
jumping on Seward. Um, Ended up getting away because he had an escape route, but I could have killed Seward day one, not day one, week one, you know,
It's
just
all
with
about
these
combining them. Yeah,
B
agreed.
tier events or encounters, excuse me.
Yeah, let me put it to you this way, right? If a hunter walks onto wolves, let's say, and they reveal a weapon and it does 2 damage. So they've revealed a weapon to you, that's good. But as far as the 2 damage goes, that's going to be recovered in 2 night actions. Whereas I would argue that a single day action is a lot more valuable than 2 night actions put together, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
I
I mean, it's
agree.
obviously situational because sometimes you really want the damage, uh, but other times you just want them to be far behind you, and that's when the delaying stuff comes into position. By the
And,
time they find this, I'm gonna be a few cities away from it, and then when they get delayed, I'll be even further away now. Have more options to work with at that point.
and the trick with the damage is theoretically you can heal it up in 2 night actions, but if you're the only one around and someone's got to clear that trail and you're deathly afraid that there's a hoax that's going to mature, it puts the hunters in kind of a difficult situation. And I realize that's not as big an issue here, where you have a good number of hunters around. But sometimes it's a little bit harder to clear off that damage quickly.
Hmm.
Um, harder than you might think.
Damage can be difficult for Dracula to take advantage of, and I think the reason for it is because Dracula moves one space and he puts down an encounter, right? And then he moves away from that encounter. So by the time the hunters discover the encounter and suffer the damage, Dracula has already likely moved a few cities away, right? So how do I put it? But like he's likely to go to sea, and all of the hunters are really damaged, right? But now he can't take advantage of that because it's time for him to go to sea because that's sort of the way his route works sometimes. If that makes any sense. Like I know I'm being a little bit vague, but he
No,
has to stay a few steps ahead of wherever he put down that encounter. So when they get there and take that damage, he could be, in Athens already having ready to feed and go to sea, and now he can't take advantage of that damage in any way. They just heal up.
so I agree with that, and I think that the area that Wyrmtalon is starting kind of mitigates that problem a little bit because so many things are connected to Marseille. You know, like there's just so much Drek can do. Like let's say one of these is a bat. You can bat something onto Marseille, and maybe Dracula's there. Even if
Mm-hmm.
Dracula's not, you can after the bat like trigger Marseille and then have Dracula misdirect it and go onto it. Or there's just a lot you can do in this region because everything is so well connected.
Oh yeah.
That also makes it risky, but it's it's a very high risk, high reward area, and it just makes for an interesting game, interesting piece of the game. So I'm
Yeah, well
very
said.
interested to see what happens when all these encounters start getting revealed.
Yeah, this is where things get interesting because he could weave his way through the maze of Central Europe and they could lose track of him potentially.
That Heavenly Hostess card from Godalming is interesting.
He probably, he's probably already got his knife and he's still digging for a horse.
Yeah,
But what's the other thing? Probably another host already, right?
that would be my guess. He doesn't want to keep two hosts.
You would hope. You would, did he? I assume he traded with Seward multiple times. So you would think the items are sorted out okay. And Dracula could have gone to Munich, so maybe a good move to check Munich there. And now you're blocking it off if he didn't go that way.
Yeah, it is fun to sneak past the hunters after they move towards your encounters. Just hope that they
Oh,
forget that you could.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But it's going to be really difficult because of how early he was discovered here. If he'd been discovered a little while later, might have been a different case. But there goes the hoax already, right? Uh, not tomorrow, but the next day, Mina can go to Geneva and take care of that one. Then the hide will be eliminated as well.
yeah. I suspect it's a little tricky because if there's a saboteur under the hide, she might not be able to handle it, uh, Geneva, because of
That's
the
true.
delaying power.
It
So you
could be
might
well
see,
protected.
yeah. But there's Seward is nearby and Helsing is nearby, so there's a lot of outs for the hunters to clear Geneva, even if Mina can't. So it'll be interesting to see how JeelSandWhich um, decides to arrange his hunters, what he tries to prioritize. In terms of who goes to Geneva first.
Right,
Do
because
more
if you,
people go to Geneva?
I agree. You try to you move Van Helsing to 42 now, depending on what he's got. Then tomorrow he can take care of Geneva, and if he fails, Mina's the backup.
Um, on a random side note, one thing I want to get in the habit of doing is saying JeelSandWhich's full name when I talk about him because
Okay.
Jeel sounds so much like Geo, and it gets really confusing. I was playing a game with Fangs of Fire earlier today, and I kept bringing up Jeel and how and his bracket and stuff like I was talking about earlier, and it kept thinking I was saying Geo. So Mr. Sandwich,
Jelly Yield Sandwich.
there you go. One of these.
Oh,
Ooh,
he's not going to 24.
interesting.
He
He
wanted to
didn't go
know if
to.
Dracula went to 36. That's actually pretty efficient. It's risky here because you still got to stop Geneva, but it's efficient check. You learn a
Yeah,
lot, right? So if Dracula didn't go that way, he
that.
must have gone on to 51.
Yeah, that limits Dracula's direction substantially.
Right.
And it was a smart check too because I mean, he could have been. Actually,
I also find it really unlikely that he went to Paris because he would have had to know that Van Helsing was going to rail over him and not just stop in Paris.
Dracula couldn't have been in
And pretty
Marseille that
bold.
turn because he would have had to have gone, Paris, Nantes, Bordeaux, and he wouldn't have had time to get to Marseille. So by checking Marseille alone, you now know he's gone north or west. You know,
I mean, he could have gone from 24, he could have gone to Paris, right? And then he could have gone to 39. There's sneaky things like that he could do. More likely, he went through Nuremberg and into 44. Or also possible he's just linking through the German area, but I don't think he'd do that. That seems like the worst idea.
I mean, just with that one check in Marseille, though, you've now ruled out Italy and
Yep.
you've made Spain
Well,
unlikely.
He also had to move Doctor Seward to Zurich to learn all that. But
Right.
yes,
Yes. 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 Yes.
with those two moves, we've learned quite a bit. So that I'm glad of that. That's efficient movement. Two moves to learn
Right.
all that information seems good.
And I'm sure Seward wanted to check Geneva, but I mean, if you have a bad horse draw,
What's going on here?
interesting.
Misdirect the city after Geneva. So he's fine with them knowing about Strasbourg. This has to be Strasbourg or maybe Nuremberg, but more likely Strasbourg. He's fine with them knowing that, hey, I went to Strasbourg. But after that, he doesn't want them to know which city did he go to after.
Yeah.
So this is tricky. Like I said, he could be in France right now. Uh, like he went to Paris and then to 39 and then to 8.
Yeah, I like that move. Um,
But even then, he could be all the way in 47 by now. So a psychic bond wouldn't really give you all you needed to know.
he also, well,
No, wait, could he be? Hang on, did I get that wrong? From Geneva, Hyde, 51. No, he didn't go to 51. All right, so that's all academic anyway.
so maybe he actually is going to Spain or along the west coast,
It had to
and
have
he's
been Paris.
he did Paris, um, you know, cleared Nantes.
That's a yellow one, unfortunately, for Godalming.
Huh. Doing some trading, it looks like.
Had to be Paris, and he's misdirected the spot after Paris. Or yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, what could he have done? Maybe.
Here comes the Hyde card ambush, I bet. Saboteur.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's
a
just the
wolf.
wolves.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Okay, yeah, no delaying. But Van Helsing took the full damage. And
Wow,
it's
and
the
now he's got a reckless
reckless.
to fight. Oh boy.
Oh, he's got the
Okay, very
escape
nice.
route. Clever
Very
old
nice.
man. Very nicely played, JeelSandWhich. And nicely played to Wyrmtalon, hoping to get some beefy damage through on an individual hunter, and the weakest one at that.
And clever to hold fire on your rumor token in that case.
Potentially, rumor token there'd be a little more pressure to make sure it's dead, but
Yeah, but I don't. Well, I'm not sure that Mr. Sandwich was expecting a vamp there.
that's
A
true.
fighting vamp.
That's true. But that would have yeah spoiled it a little. That's a good point. And on a mature, it's only gonna clear hide and a misdirect and one more thing. So that's, I mean, to be fair, he misdirected it, but if you're gonna misdirect, you might as well misdirect something that could be wiped by the mature anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah,
By
certainly.
that logic.
Oh, he does have a
Okay.
stake.
He's
Okay.
gonna kill it.
All right, very well.
I thought he would, because he didn't have a weapon. Gotta hope he's at least got the stake, yeah. Okay, not Gallia.
But
Geneva, Hyde,
one, two, three. But that doesn't tell.
Paris,
He could still be in Santander right now.
39, 8. No, he could only have gone as far as. Oh no, you're right. This Paris is the fifth card. Then 39 would be the misdirect. Then
One,
8, then 47. You're
two,
right.
three, four. So he's probably in Germania somewhere, but there's a possibility that he's in Santander now going somewhere else in Spain.
He could have also gone from 42. It would have been like he could have gone to 15 to 36 because by then it did fall off the trail. 15 did. Uh, would that be really crazy? Yeah, I mean,
Well, it can't be 1536 because we just did that scan.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
But
he's
well, I
either
mean, he he could have gone through there, right? And he would be in 25 by now or 37, right? If that was what he had done.
one, two.
So so 24, 42, 15, 36, 25.
Um,
Loop loop from Geneva to Paris to Clermont-Ferrand to 36 to 25.
yeah, I'm not sure if that was possible with where the hunters were located, but you might be right. I'm not.
I'm not totally sure either. Or
Scotsford's in
it
the chat.
could have gone to 54. Hey Scott Sword, welcome aboard. I mean, those are all the conspiracy theories, right? Like, more likely, it's what you said. He just went into Germany. Or possibly he went through Nuremberg and into 44, right? Now he's lurking in Austria-Hungary. But
Huh.
I also like the idea that he went to Santander through
Well,
39 and 8.
but I think. Okay, there's Paris. I think he could be in Paris, or he could maybe be in Amsterdam right now. And I think those are really the only options. Where was the starting location? It was Clermont-Ferrand. So we had a starting location for JeelSandWhich in Clermont-Ferrand, followed by a hide in Geneva. And the hunters have now kind of consolidated on the trail. They realized he went north after that because he didn't go to Marseille. So, oh, hello, Geo. Welcome to the chat. Good to have you and Scotcher, the Escranjas Dial, the full team here watching. Um, the yeah, so I think right now Dracula either slipped away to Spain, or he is. I think he had to have taken that sneaky route to Spain because I don't think there's enough places left on the trail for him to be in Amsterdam. The entire route
Then
east is blocked.
he wisely did not go back to 36. Or 236, I should say. He never went there to begin with.
Very sneaky play, and I think Wyrmtalon is catching on. scan here
Oh,
shouldn't tell you
people.
anything new if my theory is right.
Yeah, he didn't go to Amsterdam.
And there's no wolf,
Because
so
he would have had to get out via Brussels or via 16. Without the wolf, yeah, the lack of the wolf form seriously reduces the possibilities. If there had been a wolf form, I'm not exactly sure where, but maybe I don't know, a day after the misdirect or something like that. It all depends on where Dracula is, but wolf form can really make the calculus a lot more difficult.
I wonder if it would have been better to misdirect Paris instead of Nantes. Um,
It's tricky to say. I don't think that misdirecting the space after Paris was necessarily a great move because it's just not that well connected. I mean, it is, but the hunters had already eliminated so many of the connections. Like it couldn't be 24, it couldn't be 51, right?
and they eliminated it because they jumped on Strasbourg, right? If Strasbourg or Paris had been misdirected, that would create a lot more confusion than did misdirecting Nantes.
I think you might be onto something there. Yeah, imagine right now if they couldn't find where Dracula went after 24.
They'd have to check Nuremberg, Frankfurt, Cologne, Brussels, and instead just checking Strasbourg was mostly enough. They didn't have to check
Yeah,
Frankfurt or Nuremberg. But that being
misdirect using misdirect powerfully like that can be so tricky. I found myself in the same bind before where I end up saying, "Oh, I should have misdirected that other one instead." It can be like a very high skill display if you get it just right.
so if Wormtown has picked up on this, he should. Yep, he's about to rail. Just gonna check
Let's check 8.
Bordeaux.
Yeah, you want to check 8 for sure here.
Oh, did I do something
Okay,
wrong? I feel like he had to go through Bordeaux.
could have been 15,
Maybe.
but now we're
Huh.
gonna have to waste even more time checking.
Well played, Wormtown, because now I am confused.
He could
And
have moved to Le Havre and then to 8, misdirected Le Havre, gone on to 15, gone on to 24, gone on to 60.
because there was a hide on the trail for those first four moves or so
Hmm.
after Geneva. So there couldn't be a hide there.
Um, yeah, maybe this is what he did. Maybe he went to La Havre.
Hmm. Yeah, Paris, Clermont-Ferrand, Nantes, Le Havre. Oh, but then he would have gotten hit by the Gallia scan.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, he would have been in France this entire time. Oh man, maybe this has made quite the little puzzle.
So did he happen to be in Amsterdam, and is he hiding in Amsterdam now? Is that possible?
Oh, because they checked Cologne before, like Hyde was still on the trail.
But I'm not sure if that was the case. Would he have been
He could have gone back to Brussels, but I forget the timing with the psychic
with right?
bond.
Yeah,
what a what a head scratcher.
yeah.
This is great. All
Well,
right, time to supply.
oh, here's a newspaper. That's going to solve the
Or even
mystery.
better,
We're going to brute
even
force it.
better.
Nuremberg.
Yeah,
How did we miss that?
it
Par-
was from Paris. He went to
oh, he misdirected Strasbourg.
he yeah, he went
Ah,
there right after they moved over it. Is that right?
yeah. I mean, Certainly, if they were there, he couldn't have been there at the same time. But yeah, I guess he must have misdirected and moved there and moved. Or no, he must have moved Paris, Strasbourg, moved down to Nuremberg, and then misdirected Strasbourg, trying to make an appearance of him going west. Interesting.
Such
Very
high
well played,
danger.
Wyrmtalon.
Such danger. No, Wyrmtalon is hunting. Oh no, no, I'm sorry. He is Dracula. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, some
That.
sneaky
Yeah,
moves.
yeah. I mean, you find yourself in 42.
Oof, jumping on the lair. Ooh, that
That
hurts.
sucks.
That's rough.
But when he was in Paris, where were the hunters? I thought they were in Stroudsburg at that time. I'm so confused. Good thing for newspaper reports.
So you know what? I found the chat on my phone, so I can go back and see when the misdirect happened.
We'll just have to ask Wormtalon later. Break it down for us. Professor, you confused everybody.
So when
Yeah.
he was in Nuremberg, Godalming was in Munich, and Seward was in Geneva when he did the misdirect in Strasbourg. Very interesting.
Okay.
I thought Geo was Drake. Nope. Geo has had a an effective vamp killing, but this sneaky misdirect has really thrown the hunters for a loop here, gotten them off the scent. And
Burned a
the
fair number of day actions too while they looked around for him.
and the fact that Godalming is in Munich right now um, means there's a whole host of encounters in this northeastern Germany area, maybe Prague, or actually, it could be a straight shot east. He could have gone Nuremberg, Prague, Vienna, and there could be a long trail
Oh, I
going
think that's
directly east.
most likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's certainly what I would have done if I was in Dracula's shoes and found myself in Nuremberg and everybody else was west of me. What you
Interesting
can do.
that
Go
I
on.
guess the layer in Clermont-Ferrand must be like an aristocratic or a hoax or something because Seward got batted on there and there was no encounter trigger from the lair.
I see. Well, at least he still got batted. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not sure that'll make a huge difference, but
At
I
least
just
he, yeah, it could have
noticed
been a
that.
vampire or something. I say as Dracula, what you do here is, well, I mean, he might be past this at this point. He's moved quite a few spaces, but if I'd gone from Vienna, I would have moved to Zagreb and then Wolf form, right? Because then by the time they figure out, oh, he went to Zagreb and he wolf formed, now they got to figure out, did he go back west over the Munich border, or did he go further east with the wolf?
Yeah, going wolfing to Venice would be quite interesting and sneaky. Um, I doubt that's what he would do. I feel like you're going to build yourself a wall of encounters between the hunters and you in that situation. But I mean, if you,
Yeah, just threaten the possibility of it.
but yeah, it could make things really interesting. Send them on another goose chase.
Well, let's say you did wolf form from 59 to 37. Really risky, right? But by the time you get to 25, it's a little bit safer, and you can move on. You can start doing other things from there. Meanwhile, it can be nice. Your point about having the encounters between the hunters and you is a good point because they can provide you value and protect you. But another strategy is to have the encounters on the other side of Dracula, while Dracula makes a beeline in the opposite direction. Now, if the hunters want to clear his encounters, they have to go out of their way to do it. They can't do it on their way to catching up to Dracula. They have to move further away from Dracula to take out his encounters. Oh, nice
Yeah,
punch.
excellent
Uh,
punch.
the the only problem with that strategy is if you end up in a vulnerable spot and they all just jump you and kill you, and to hell with your encounters.
Yeah, and I think some of that might be dictated by what encounters are in your hand. Certainly, if you have a bunch
Of course.
of bats and saboteurs and delaying items or aristocratics, then your point about making them go the wrong way makes a lot of sense. If you slow them down, you'll push them further in the other direction as you go the other way. If you have a lot of damaging encounters, you might want to just kind of go with the leave a trail of pain in your wake so that by the time the hunters are limping to your rough location, you can take them in a fight. You know.
Yeah.
So this is okay. Point Wyrmtalon, another punch. The both mesmerizers are out, so I have to imagine the reckless. I would think wants to damage here.
Um. Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about maturing this one. There's a vampire right in front of it. Get as much influence and
Okay.
points as
Nice
he
knife.
can.
Nice
Yeah,
knife.
he'll survive it though,
Yep.
fortunately. And now he can probably escape as a bat or go for more damage. Maybe play strength. Yeah, play strength here if you have it every time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Don't die to a punch.
Yeah, deal out some more damage. Don't die to a
There
punch.
you go. Wyrmtalon's thinking the same thing.
It's tough to blame any hunter player for going for it though, because you've seen both the fangs already. It's like maybe
Yeah.
he doesn't have the punch. Maybe he's gonna be forced to claw me here instead, or even plot. I mean, yeah, you never know. It's all about the cards you draw.
So Godalming has a horse and a knife. I have to imagine the other card's a host because he discarded that one earlier.
But
Which
do you play it?
certainly here, probably not. No.
Nice.
Okay, dead vamp. That is
Didn't
a.
have the other strength.
But as you said, there's likely another vamp in prog right now, in the wrong direction from Godalming. Godalming has lost 6 of his health, so that's I would call
Yeah,
that a pretty fair trade.
that's a significant speed. Anytime you can force them to fight a vampire and you don't really care if that one matures, that's like always a good situation. You know what I mean?
Most
When
definitely.
sometimes as Dracula, you'll put down your rumored vampire, and then right behind it, you put down another one that's not rumored. You go, this will just mess with them. This
I'm
will be
interested in
a speed
seeing
bump.
whether Mina tries to meet Helsing here or not. Does Mina have a horse? I don't even remember. She's not showing it, so I have to assume not. Pistol and renewed vigor. Oh.
Interesting.
Ah, Roscoe's in the house.
Wasn't she showing
Misthios.
Speedy Telegraph earlier? I wonder how that worked out. That now he decided to show renewed vigor instead. Gonna have a night search. Wonder what this will be. Ooh, I'm so excited. It's gonna happen.
Right?
He's got to stay.
But is that what he needs? As a
It's a
spy. That's going to make fighting the, wow. Garlic, two steaks, and excellent weather. Well,
Wow.
the silver lining for the hunters here is that that spy is gone, and Van Helsing is well positioned to deal with a vampire in Prague.
Yeah, and there's no hide card on it, so he's not going to get hit by like bodyguards or something.
And I didn't see any tickets on Helsing. Is that does that mean he didn't have any going in, or does that
I
mean he just?
missed whether he lost his or not, but he probably had them, right? You would think.
I could
I
have
mean,
sworn when
he
you do a spy and you don't discard a weapon, it usually shows the tickets that are being discarded. I think that's
that's true.
correct.
It does. So if you were looking closely and it didn't, then yeah, he must have not had them.
Yeah.
He was short a bit of night actions because, excuse me, he had to stake that vampire and he also had to heal from the wolves. So maybe he wasn't taking train tickets. He had to take a train to get to Marseille. So grab with hide. Okay. It's another spy. This guy's like the spy master. He's like MI6.
Yeah, this is gonna make Dracula feel quite safe. Oh,
Well,
forewarned.
maybe not quite because first of all, I mean, yeah, he knows about Van Helsing's weapon situation being non-existent, but he's going to stake this vampire and that's going to change.
Oof.
He's going to be in major cities. That is really unfortunate. Majorly unfortunate. Oh,
So
that's
now, there is a
uh,
renewed vigor, so the hunters can catch up relatively, well, easier than they might otherwise.
right,
But,
but Seward will now need some kind of movement event to get him there.
and Van Helsing, while he is well armed, he's beat up. He's a little bit worse for wear.
Well, he's he has holy armaments. He's got his garlic and his steak.
So we got a claw.
Something to protect him from more
I
mundane
do not
threats would
like
be
that
nice.
punch because the max that any the max damage that could be done to you is 4, and you have
Now
to
it's 6.
Drax not near you. So if you just played, you know, dodge, escape, garlic, you're not getting more than 4 damage. You can kill this vamp and be sure. Now with the punch getting hit with the claw, there is a possibility that Helsing dies here. It's not going to happen,
Makes it out
but
of his side. But
all right,
yeah, he could have been put in a loop of plotting and mesmerizes, preventing escapes.
right.
Yeah, could have been bad.
But all's well that ends well.
That's one of those things you punch first people need to think about before you start going in there punch happy.
Yeah, I like the punch move usually. It's just in this case where the difference between 4 damage and 6 is life and death, you probably don't want to risk it in this one particular situation.
Agreed. Not to mention the vampire maturing. Yeah, that horse loss is so huge for Dracula here. Like the difference between Seward being in Zurich and tomorrow being in Zagreb.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and
Whereas now he's not going to be there for days. He's like a non-threat now.
especially when Dracula's in the East, where you only have these kind of very specific, slow yellow rails to move on. Um, the
They
loss of a horse is more acutely felt in that area than elsewhere.
absolutely. I think the yellow rails aren't to be like completely neglected. Uh, Using a good chartered carriage, it around here can be actually really useful. If you chartered carriage from 11, you can get all the way to Salonika, and then you're just a horse. You're a good horse away from Athens, right? Or even in excellent weather.
Here's the other thing.
Um,
These hunters need a supply. They haven't supplied very much. They've spent so much time searching for that trail, understandably so, that there is, between these guys, one hunter event on Godalming, none on Seward, one on Helsing, two on Mina. So there's really not a lot helping the hunters along. I'm sorry, three on Mina. I forgot about the renewed vigor that's revealed. So certainly that renewed vigor is insanely helpful. But the rest of them don't really have much going on. And Scotch and Godalming is low HP. Yep. And so Wyrmtalon can just keep playing damaging events that someone's going to have to deal with eventually. Um, and
so
because they're
they don't.
slow, Zagreb and Vienna are going to become layers. So by the time you start to see, you try to get Helsing and Seward to come help out, that's an extra encounter that they're going to have to land on, probably. Um,
That's a good point.
so it's almost like Drake's trail is going to be kind of extra, extra long.
Yeah, it could get pretty brutal here. Um, Now the traditional solution would just be to like drive him out as fast as you can before he gets a longer trail going, but with your lead hunter really hurt, Van Helsing with no weapons to threaten Dracula, and Dracula knows it. Although, like I said, that could change in the next few turns, but he's got so much supplying and healing to do. You've got Steward with no obvious movement that we know about. I mean, and Mina's just far, far out of position. So Dracula's gonna have all the time in the world that he wants to just dance around the east and put down whatever cards he wants.
Yeah, I kind of want. If I were him, I would probably put Godalming in Valona and just start healing and just taking encounters there because Godalming already has the items he needs just to kind of block this Valona to Athens move that would make the trail longer and put Dracula an effective way to go to sea. Certainly, you can still go to sea from Salonika or from the Black Sea, but just blocking off this Valona Athens route, I think, would be helpful and give Godalming the time he needs to become effective again.
That could work.
Because you do have three
It,
turns, right? Um, before you start getting to events that will mature.
but if you move him to Valona and Dracula's there, then you could be in a spot of bother. What if Dracula went from Zugreb to 53, then he went to 6, then he went to 50,
It is a little bit of a risk. You're right.
and now on the next turn he's about to move to 55.
Yeah,
Um, I find that slightly unlikely, to be honest, because that seems like a bit of a wacky trail.
yeah, because that's like something you would do when you feel the pressure of the hunters on you. And right now, Wormtown doesn't feel that much pressure. So I have to
Feel
imagine
like
if I'm him, I'm hanging out in, central quote unquote Baltica and eastern Austro-Hungary. Uh,
I
I
think
might roll the dice and
Zagreb.
go to Valona.
I think Zagreb he went to probably maybe even 11 because they were so far behind. But 11 or 53, and then on to probably Klausenberg.
Hmm.
Is what I'm guessing. But like I said, it might have been that weird loop
I
that
think
he's
you're
in
right about
currently
that.
right
Yeah,
now.
that would make a lot of sense because it's creating another like mini extremity for the hunters to go check out, and then
Yeah, just keep
yeah,
making more and more trail. Exactly. Why go straight into 50 and 55 and 3 when you can go there later? Start
right.
building a trail in the north part of the area and then head to the southern part of the area. This is very hard to backtrack in this part of the map. The connections are so sparse that yeah, once you've hit like 10 or 50 or 55, any of those areas, at that point it becomes very hard to try to go back to any of those areas in Baltica.
Yeah, certainly if there is a vamp after Zagreb, this is the point where Geo might want to start considering letting it mature to clear trail. Because he's not well situated to deal with trail. And he
No,
has
he's not.
very, very little. There's only one influence point right now. So, of course, Dracula would need to cooperate and take those points.
Yeah.
So,
It's a very tricky part of the game where he now has to commit to a strategy. And it's going to be difficult to say which is the right one. Okay, so from
okay.
Zagreb to 53 and then to Belgrade. Could have gone Sofia 55. We'll find out soon enough. He
Gee,
ambushed that time.
yeah, I don't think I like the
He,
ambush.
I don't know that I do either, but he wants to just keep Godalming down. He's trying to just keep him down as much as he can. That makes some sense. If
I
there's
want.
even a chance that he won't search it, then tonight he would be a 7 health.
I wonder if that means if that makes it more likely that 53, the face down 53 Zagged card is a vamp. Because certainly you want to be more aggressive about making sure your encounters get used if you think they might get cleared.
Good point. Could be an aristocratic even. Haven't seen one of those yet, I don't think.
Yeah, you're right. Excuse me. I think there could be some aristocrats coming. There was one soil that would have created an opportunity to throw some of the aristocrats away, but I mean, ooh, that's a useful evil
Oh,
presence. Adjacent to Godalming. Okay, okay.
so this is maybe he went from 10 to 50 or 50 to 10.
So maybe 10 to 50, yep. Or we could have gone 28 to 10.
This is also possible.
Um, but yeah, we do know that as of now, Dracula's either in Bucharest or in Sofia, or yeah, I think those are the. I guess he. No, I think those are the only options. I guess he could have theoretically gone Bucharest to Klausenberg and be in Klausenberg right now. But that seems somewhat implausible. Oh, I guess possible. He could be trying to double back and wolf over the other hunters, but given how poor their movement is, I have to imagine he wouldn't try that play.
I certainly wouldn't want to be going any closer to them at this point if I didn't have to be.
Yeah. Strategy in
I
the
would.
chat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, he is. Welcome aboard, Strider.
Hi,
I
Strider.
was just gonna say it's also a difficult position for Dracula because he has to formulate a strategy too here. Am I gonna go to sea and reposition now while they deal with my trail, or am I gonna commit to lurking about in hopes that they step onto me and I could kill somebody in a fight?
Yeah,
Um,
there's.
that's a higher reward, but if they spring the renewed vigor trap with a big combo, then that could spell the end of it.
I
Okay.
just. Dracula's just so well positioned here. We don't even know if that white one has been found yet. The white one that killed Seward's horse.
Yeah, we don't know. But he's got a new horse.
He does have a new horse. But he's about to jump on a
And
lair.
it seems to work pretty well.
Oh, he's not jumping on a lair. Did I miss something? I thought Vienna was a lair.
No. No. As a matter of fact, he hasn't layered Zagreb either.
That is
Maybe a bit of a missed opportunity for
strange.
Dracula there.
Is he
He
trying to
did
double back
layer
west?
Prague.
if I'm Drac, I'm thinking I don't care. These hunters don't have a lot of movement. They don't have a lot of events. Godalming
Mm,
is on death's door. I don't care. Let him jump on some layers.
maybe it's a matter of wanting to sow the seeds of doubt that he's actually returning to those cities already.
It could also be that he just has a really good hand of cards and doesn't want to throw something away.
That's also possible.
That's kind of my theory I'm leaning towards, but it's possibly just trying to create some opportunity to double back west. I just, ooh, okay, 2 health. So
He's got the knife, though, fortunately.
Geo and Strider are talking in the chat about the Strider Skybreaker game that just wrapped up. Well,
I was
I'm glad.
hoping to catch the end of that, but I guess I know now.
Yeah, there's some strong. There's some heavy. What do you call it? Foreshadowing. Some heavy implications about how that game ended.
Yeah, I think I could take a guess.
Yeah. If you viewers want to check the chat and get those signals, go for it. I'm not gonna bring them up just yet. We'll keep the little bit of mystery for the people who are just listening and not following the chat below.
Well, this is an interesting game. Back to Dracula's been very elusive, and his trail has proved to be one, a difficult one to deal with.
Yeah, very, very strong play by Wyrmtalon, who hasn't been playing very much lately. He did well in New Blood. I think he was a semi-finalist. Didn't play in Immortal Invitational. He was talking in the chat about how he thought he'd be a little rusty, but so far he did a really effective obfuscation play in Central Europe, cost the hunters a lot of time, um, and he's got little bits of luck here and there. And now he's playing the wolf form. Okay, is this him doubling back west, as you suggested as an option earlier, or is he just trying to get himself to a port now, now that the
Well,
hunters are
from
getting a little closer?
let's see, from Belgrade, he could have gone on to Sofia, and at that point, Godalming was in Sarajevo, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. He could have gone to the Black Sea coast, and then doubled back to create one of those additional mini extremities we were talking about.
This would explain the lack of the layers. He could have gone to 55, and then after that, on to Sarajevo, then to Zagreb with the wolf form, right?
We also haven't seen any fog yet. I have this. There's some disagreement with my thinking in the chat in the last game, but you know, to telegraph some of my strategy for my future opponents, I like the idea of playing fogs around this time of the game with the hope that someone will trigger them before the encounter card does shuffle, so that the fog could shuffle back and they can be drawn again. So if I were doing that strat, I would want someone to trigger the fog now before this last one event card is drawn and another event card is drawn, forcing the shuffle without the fog. Because if the fogs are still in your hand, or if they are on the board and they don't get shuffled back in, you can't draw them again. This is
Agreed.
me, my Twilight Struggle strat. It's
No,
like
that's some high level play.
it just never dawned on me until now. It's exactly like what everyone does playing the meta in Twilight Struggle. You gotta like there are set times where there are reshuffles, and you want to tactfully hold the cards that are good for your
Hmm.
opponent till after, and play yours before that to kind of control what's in the reshuffled deck. I may be making too much
See,
hay over this, but it'll be interesting to see if there are some fogs now, or if Wormton's going with the tried and true, hold on to them for dear
it's
life until you need them strat.
it's difficult to set it up because you have to either look at your encounter deck well ahead of time and realize like, oh, it's going to shuffle in this many days, or you have to get really lucky as far as like they have to jump on the fog right now, today, right? Tricky to pull it off. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's something to keep in your mind as you're deciding when and where to place your fog, when the reshuffle is going to happen.
We have a long pause in this dawn actions. I wonder if there's
Yeah, well,
some. Yep.
he was thinking about the renewed vigor
Yeah.
is what I was gonna say. He's thinking the exact same thing we were thinking, bud. He's going from Zagreb into Munich, or I'm sorry, into Zurich or the like.
I wonder if Mina has excellent weather. Because certainly if she does, this move is a lot more attractive. So here, with good horses, you can get Godalming and Seward and Mina all into Valona, if indeed that is where Dracula is right now.
Or you can
This is a
check
weird bug.
40 mil.
I now have the Hunter options on my right hand screen.
Yeah, same as I do. All
I'm
right,
not going to
time to
touch that.
play for these guys. Show them
I'm
how it's done, Snuff.
going to pinch hit for Godalming. Oh, okay. So,
Dr. Seward. I mean,
he must have been thinking
what is
about the
he doing with
possibility
this
of.
renewed vigor? I have to get inside his head. Yeah.
Maybe he was thinking, like, Godalming's not going to be useful in a fight anyway. Oof, that draw.
That is so unfortunate. This is where the speedy telegraph would have been nice because Van Helsing could have checked Nuremberg.
Yeah,
And
and
then Seward, well, I mean, his roll was bad, but if it had been good, he could have checked 37 and 60 all in the same turn. And whichever one's Dracula's in, you can try to maybe send Mina there, right?
37 and 60.
Milan and Zurich.
Uh,
I'm still working off the idea that Dracula did go to Valona, and then afterwards he went straight to Zagreb.
well,
And now he's wolf
if
formed over
Seward goes to
Munich.
Zagreb, we'll know for sure if that happened. Same deal? Okay, he did
Yeah.
not do that. I bet he went to Black Sea Coast and then doubled back to Valona. But now,
Well, well, he's only checked Munich. He could have still wolf formed from Zagreb over Munich.
oh, you're right. He should have checked Zagreb
Yeah.
to rule
Yeah.
that out.
You check that one, and then at least you learn the direction that he went. Even that doesn't actually tell you where he's. That's why Zagreb's so great. Is because he could have actually wolfed, backwards
True.
towards Klausenberg.
Hmm.
Now we'll know. No, okay, it was all just shadow trail, tinfoil hat, conspiracy theory, obfuscation nonsense.
Nope, he was just building up that
It's
trail in the east.
say it for me, Snuff. Where is it?
Oh,
Where's Dracula?
well, so he was in Belgrade. I'm gonna make you wait for it just a second while I double check this possibility. Wasn't
Chat,
Belgrade?
where do we think Dracula could possibly have gone? Of all the places in Europe.
I. Hmm. So he had to be. I can't remember when the evil present happened. My gut is that he's actually in Bologna about to go to Athens, but he could be in Athens.
He could be in Athens right now though.
He could be
But
in
if
Athens
he's
right now.
not,
I know it's
it
always
could be that he's
Athens.
about to go
Let's find
there
out. Is he in Bologna
shortly.
now? Are we about to see a fight between Mina, one on one, mano a womano? No.
Whoa. What did we miss here?
Ooh.
Sophia.
Wow.
Okay.
What does that mean?
To
Man, Wyrmtalon's
10.
drag movements have been very sneaky.
He's being very unpredictable. Yeah.
I'm very impressed. None of this like worm on rusty stuff. He's been playing very effectively. He's been moving very effectively.
Well, what's what's clever to me is that he wolf formed when he could have been in Zagreb, right? This is the idea about shadow trails, and Quincy Mortis sort of um, he discusses part of this in one of his videos, but it's a concept a lot of people are familiar with as Dracula, where you want to have your trail be such that it reflects many different possibilities that all seem potentially useful for Dracula, right?
Yeah, I
So
completely
that
agree with that.
you end up making players like myself go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy ideas until they confuse themselves. Um, it- I would have had my hunters checking Nuremberg and checking Zurich and checking Milan, and all of that would have been wasted time.
So if you're Mina right here, do you escape first? Do you dodge first? Do you punch first?
You escape first.
Okay, escape first.
Yeah.
That's makes sense to me.
It's tough to want to do it because there's probably like a 60% chance you get mesmerized.
So there's one
But
crucifix in the discard, obviously a horse and a host in the discard. So we have to assume these hunters have a lot of knives. There's horses on Godalming and Seward.
so what is this? He went to 46 and hid and then he wolfed? Or did he go to 56 and then 17 and then he wolfed?
But where'd you wolf from 17?
Ah, yeah, that's the darndest thing. It seems so wacky. Maybe it was maybe it was 49 and a hide and then a wolf, but where do you go from there? Straight to Athens? Or to 56 maybe?
Yeah, I
That could
guess.
be kind of clever.
Yeah, it's. Hmm.
Whatever
Well,
he's doing, it's working.
yeah,
Good heavens.
I'm quite confused. Very, very, very well done. Is Sarajevo on the trail? Wolf to Sarajevo and then go
It's
back
going
to
to be
Valona after?
important. Yeah. He never went to. Yeah. Unless he just now moved to Valona right after Mina Harker just checked it. Like he was at 49 the whole
Maybe
time.
Bucharest, Galatz, and then he went to Constanta? Wolf to Constanta? That could make some sense. Again, the mini extremity theory again. The mini extremity theory hasn't worked the past couple of times, but maybe it's working this time. Geo says Valona. We just checked Valona with Mina.
Yeah, but unless
But I
he
mean,
went from
he could be in
49 to 55.
like I mean he could have gone to
You know
Salonika,
what? I
Hyde,
bet I bet you
Wolf
it's
to
Valona.
Athens, then Valona. He could be in Valona now.
Yeah, Salonika, Wolf to Athens, and then Valona. Yeah, that's not a bad little move.
No, it's not.
Especially if you like going to Athens.
Especially like on Athens.
That's somewhere want to do.
Yeah. Obviously, the trick with that is even with one host out of the game, a consecrated ground would be bad in if you land in Bari or even if you land in Venice. To a lesser extent, if you land in Venice. But if you land in Venice, you're near a bunch of hunters. So, or you got to
Okay.
take multiple C moves.
Yeah. Geo says Dracula just went to Bucharest. And then after that, he did the loop around the Black Sea coast. And he wolf formed over Sofia to get to
Sofia,
46.
Bucharest. But the thing is, Geo, if it was Sofia, Bucharest, Constanta, you can't you wolf to
You know, he went
Salonika.
he no, he went to Varna, then he wolf formed to Salonika.
But no, the
And
wolf would have been in Constanta if that was the trail. Sofia, there's two things after. Bucharest, Constanta, there's no time to go to Varna from there.
oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, he could have
Hmm.
done Varna Hyde. that would have also made some sense. Varna hide, then wolf to Salonika. Okay, so Gio's going to try the old 2-on-1 fight versus the Vamp, I think. Unless
And then
there's a stake there.
you could psychic bond at night, and maybe you learn where Dracula is. Huh?
Maybe.
It might just work. It's possible.
Rufus. I'm thinking you. Oh, that's tough. Do you have a surprising return? The hunters are not that well supplied. If they have a surprising return, you can search now, keep Aggie for the fight, and then switch to Rufus when he goes to C. Maybe.
But what if you don't have surprising return?
It's tough.
What if you what if you don't put Rufus Smith in play? You keep Sister Agatha, and then Dracula gets away by C.
I mean, honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. Because, I mean, Rufus doesn't do that much damage.
He searched. It's Wolf
Oh.
to
Wolf to.
Costanza.
Okay, so I think that means it's likely Bucharest, Galatz, Wolf to Constanta. Now he's in Varna. Which is an interesting situation.
What a psychopath! And he was gonna hide over there too, and then he was gonna move to Sophia.
Okay, so
What a
2-on-1.
crazy man!
So this is a little bit of a break for JeelSandWhich. Geo, by the way, I'm going to make sure to use JeelSandWhich's full name because Jeel and Geo sound a lot alike. So, my boy, Mr. Sandwich. Uh, okay, we got a targeting Seward here.
Uh-oh.
Strength. Okay, well played, Wyrmtalon. What does Mina have?
Probably a knife. She's got a
Pistol.
pistol.
Any bullets?
She's gonna shoot it.
Ooh, we got the
Holy
holy
bullets.
bullets.
She's
I
packing
don't know
heat.
if I like playing him here, because you're very likely to get in a fight with Dracula very soon, because you're right next to him. You know? I guess you could go to C now and just take the hit.
Maybe.
Nah, I changed my mind. I'm good with the bullets. Holy bullets.
Yeah.
Screw the
It's
secular
these
bullets.
these things are tough to kill.
Yeah.
If it matures, it will get wolf form back. You don't have that long to kill it.
Okay, we got a fang, a rifle.
Okay, so we're seeing a rifle on Seward. It could also be Seward's packing holy bullets. In which case, I would definitely fire away because
Well, if
right, he
Mina's
doesn't have
punching.
because you
No
don't
holy
even need two
bullets.
people to have them.
Okay.
Nice. She was ready to rock with the guns and holy ammo.
So, and what is Mina's? Do we know what Mina's third card is? Oh, we know Mina has
It was a pistol and a rifle, and it
forewarned.
was holy ammo.
Oh, she doesn't have a third card. Oh, it's
That's
the
what she
bullets. You're right. You're right.
that's what she had. Pistol, rifle, bullets. Yeah,
That's a tough
that's
spot
my kind
for.
of gal.
That's a tough spot for Mina. If she gets in this fight and she's got it forewarned, so she's gonna be, I mean, needed in the fight. Drac can kill her with fangs, quite easily. Just get the mesmerize off. You don't have an anti-fang weapon like a knife or a
Why?
crucifix.
That's why you have Dr. Seward Trader the Garlic. See? Yeah, that's how you play.
Mm,
That's how you play this game, Snuff. You have old Dr.
there you
Seward
go.
Trader the Garlic that he's been smuggling around the whole game that
Garlic's OP,
Dracula
man.
never knew about.
Garlic OP.
And the hands of the Doc it is. Because the Doc, not only can he hold four things, but he, being in the city with the Doc, that's like a lucky find. You know what I mean? He can kick you over an item at night and prepare
Ooh.
for the next day.
Okay, we got a lair. So
Now,
does
granted, he
Drac
can't
hide?
always do that, but
Nope.
he's had
Okay.
enough.
So this is a bit of a break for the hunters here because Dracula is going to take, one more sea space than he would have if he were going from Salonika or Athens. So that's going to give him a little more time. And if there is a vamp here, um, you can just let it mature at this point. Oh, there's not a ton of time left.
We've only seen the one hoax, so the other hoax could be a problem.
Could be. And
Um,
certainly Bucharest to Galatz. Galatz is a good place for a hoax.
yeah, and then you will form up right away from it. Right. I mean, it's interesting how much information has become clear so quickly to the point where I wonder if it foiled Dracula's plans to go back to Sofia, perhaps, or something like that. Sit around and hide in Varna. Um, Now that everything's kind of out in the open, he had to go to sea from the Black Sea. But that's what's great about the plan is it's a contingency plan. If he has to, he can do that. He's still not in a real bad spot. But we didn't put Rufus in play, so if we don't see surprising return at dusk, he's not going to take extra sea damage, which is unfortunate because he's going to have to move at least two more.
Right.
This is where you can really surprise Dracula with how fast your hunters can move. Uh, this is something Scott's always done to me in the past. Is all of a sudden Van Helsing's in Genoa and Godalming is in 58, and then tomorrow Van Helsing can be in 36 and Godalming can be in Genoa, and now all of a sudden Dracula's in the Tyrrhenian Sea, like kind of nervous, right? You see what I mean?
Yes.
If you get them moving quickly, they can actually head off his sea travel super quickly here.
Right.
Yeah, he could still go to Cagliari, uh, but after that, where's he gonna go? He's gonna go to the Mediterranean, and then you move your guys to protect Bordeaux and to protect like Spain, right? Get somebody over there. You'd be surprised how quickly they can move when they really, really need to.
It looks like he's going to
If
split the
they're
hunters and
prepared.
have Helsing, got a mob, have Helsing and Seward go west, supply up, try to catch up with Dracula, and the others clear trail. Um, I don't know if I like that breakdown. I think I'd almost rather you start sending Godalming west.
It was Klausenberg after all, not Galatz.
Oh, oh, you're right. That is not what I expected.
It's so
Okay.
interesting the way things worked out because that one search gave us so much information.
All right. So Bucharest, you. Oh, lucky find. Okay, that's a good lucky
Oh, Holy
find.
Circle. Get the Holy Circle out of the deck. Then you could
Yeah,
escape from it. Let him have it, maybe. Or if you have a contingency plan,
I
you
think you
kill
either
it.
pull a stake here if you have one, and use get out of the fight and use a stake to kill the vamp. Um, yeah.
If
Or
you're
you're
holding on to if you're holding on to great strength, I would agree, because then she can escape and you can use the great strength to make sure she lives. But this is Mina we're talking about here. I don't know, man. She's got two guns confirmed, right? So nothing to stop Fangs or Mesmerize but the punch.
right.
Um, so
All
she's
right.
gonna
Let's see what
try to
she
escape
discarded.
and she's gonna get mesmerized
She
and then she's
discarded a
gonna
wreath, a knife, a rifle, and a circle.
she discarded the Holy Circle.
I mean, she could have drawn two.
Oh, that's
I'm going to be
true.
very interested to see what she chose to take.
Yeah, this is
A
this is
crucifix could
exciting.
be quite clutch here if she picked
This is
that up.
exciting.
Claw.
Show the gun. Show the gun would have been
Oh, I
perfect
don't.
too.
That's bold. I guess he was
Yeah,
assuming maybe a mesmerized first, which is not a crazy assumption.
not at all.
So this is interesting. So now the vamp's at two. The vamp is strongly incentivized to Fang to heal up, because then the gun's not gonna hurt. Or I mean, either a Fang here or a strength is
I
Pretty
would say
deadly.
now you mesmerize.
Escape. Okay. Well, I'm glad
Well,
Mina's alive.
we'll call it a draw.
Call it a draw.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, obviously it's dictated by what the vampire draws, right? So
Yeah, I bet he
you
wanted.
never know what the vampire has.
I
Could have
bet.
been plotting, escape is bat, and then the two cards we actually saw.
I bet he was pulling the lucky find, hoping to get a stake, and didn't get it, and wasn't sure how to respond.
I still think that would have been exceptionally dangerous without great strength. Because if she dies in that fight, you lose the stake, you lose the lucky find, you lose Mina and her two guns, and you lose her forewarned.
I bet Mr. Sandwich was
Like,
also really banking on the mesmerize first.
whereas if you just draw a holy circle, all you have to do is holy circle out, and then
And here's the other thing: even if
maybe
you
fight it tomorrow. I don't know. I
even
don't
if
know.
you
Maybe it'd be tough to
drew
kill it.
the heavenly host, like you'd rather escape and do a 2v1 later since you have, well, albeit a, well, I guess not. You're, no,
Oh well, the lucky find only kicked off after he knew it was a vampire, right? So you got to make the
yeah.
call then and there.
So he probably took it, was like, okay, I may as well use it. If there's a mesmerize first, I have a decent shot of killing the vamp. Although still not a great shot because, fangs versus guns. It's two fangs and two strengths in the deck. You have a shot at killing if it was a mesmerize first. But
Yeah, it's a tough call, but
I
I
think
don't
you
know. I
just
think
let it
that's just
mature.
if it was a reckless, it'd be totally different. But since it was a new vampire and you only have two guns and a host, it just kind of feels like I just be like, let Dracula have it. Let him have the 3 points.
Yeah. He's going to get 3 points. The rest of the hunters are moving west. Heal him up. Does Seward just go straight west to catch up with Drac? Or does Seward go to Vienna now just to expedite the healing? As bad as that is.
With the clear that Dracula would get from this vampire, he'd be up to 4 total, and he would get his wolf form back, but there'd be no more trail, and he wouldn't clear any of the C zones, which is also pretty important. So I think I'd be fine with that.
I think if I'm Drac here, and I might go. So I'm in Ionian. You want to go one more to obfuscate a little. Um, I might go.
Oh yeah,
I might go
you gotta go.
Adriatic and then Wolf to Oh no, that's a little risky because of the trains.
Oh yeah, please do that, Snuff. Go to Adriatic and Wolf to 25 with 358. Because maybe against other players they're not gonna have that yellow 2 ready to go, but I guarantee you I'm gonna be taking that train from 58 to 25 when Dracula is where he is right now, right? I mean, horse economy be damned. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't put away the white 1 for that, right? But when the train is literally more efficient and better at getting you to where you need to go than a horse roll would be, even on a good roll, I'm fine with it. And then you can try again to get the white the yellow 1 at night, maybe. I mean, some trains are just too good to pass up, if you ask me.
Oh, and you also you can't Wolf. That's it. My whole train of thought is silly because you can't Wolf. So you're probably gonna Cag here, or so this move is Saturday. Saturday's gonna take you to Terranian. Sunday will take you to Mediterranean. Monday move you land. You'll get your 3 points when you land on Monday. So this might be a time in which, you know, You don't even need to really worry about obfuscating because you you want to get those points. Hunters are slower than normal, and if you land, you could then wolf to another port and be able to sail again if you need to, or hug the coast if you don't need to. Looks like that's Wyrmtalon's idea. Just you got slow hunters, create some distance, get ready to land when it's going to get you points.
I
Makes
mean,
sense.
yeah, see, this is the perfect time to take the train to 25 because now you're scaring Dracula into thinking maybe you have excellent weather. He's already seen one, right?
Okay. Money Trail, I like
Ooh,
that play.
okay,
Turanian.
yeah. Now we know. Only Rufus Smith was in play.
And Geo just commented that that new vamp did not mature,
No, it was Laird.
which is interesting in itself.
Maybe he likes the cards in Consanta better. But at this point, you probably just deal with it, right?
Yeah. I wonder what's in Constanza. I have to imagine the only thing I would be
Have to
happy
be
with there is if it's
Rhubarb
like a
or
soil,
Aristocratic
a soil, and then another vamp, because then you could heal and still get the points.
or Hoax and a Vamp. Yeah, or a Hoax and a Soil.
Yeah.
Really, any two that have a good matured effect
I mean, it's risky because
is worth the 3 points,
that
probably.
new vamp is, 1 day fewer that the hunters can catch you. The hunters know roughly what direction you're going. You're weakening yourself. I mean, you're still in a strong position, but you're getting to the point where a one-on-one could seriously damage you.
Yeah, what's his health look like? 10? Yeah, you get in a bad fight, you take 5 or 6 damage. You got to go back to sea to get away from him yet again. All of a sudden, old Drax not feeling so hot, Mr. Stark.
Right? And of course, he's going to be able to feed, but if you're feeding, that's giving the hunters another turn. You don't want to feed. You're in Fury of Dracula mode right now.
Now, the unfortunate thing for Dracula is that it's Sunday night and he's at sea. There's nothing like the old Sunday night feed. You gotta try to calculate that out if possible. Now, again, I think Dracula's plans were interrupted a bit by being discovered a little earlier than he expected.
Strata thinks
Hence,
it's a
he
hoax and a vamp.
he went to the Black Sea instead of the Ionian.
Here's another thought. Goes to Mediterranean, lands in Cagliari, um, and there's a vamp, and he can mature the vamp, and then go either way.
Mm,
That could be helpful.
well, if it's the one after Constanta, it could clear the Turanian. But if it's Constanta itself, then it won't.
You're right.
We've already seen both new vampires. We haven't seen the Recklesses, though.
Yeah, you would then have to hide or feed in Cag if there was a vamp in the one after in Varna.
Yeah, see, Dracula, it sucks for Dracula right now because he wishes he was already in 13 and that tonight he was feeding instead. Um, but even that would be dangerous because you've already got Van Helsing at 25. Who knows what's going to happen? He took that train, didn't he?
And I guess for Drax's purposes, given the heavenly hosts, there's at least one heavenly host out of the hunter's hands, probably two. You can probably land in Alicante, see if it clears, and well, that wouldn't clear Mediterranean. Yeah, he's probably just gonna
Okay,
land in Alicante.
he's moved on to Mediterranean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. We're horsing around. Still plenty of time to catch up to him. Uh, except that he's going to get 3 points when he moves to 26 and another 3 when he moves to 12.
Another tough horse draw. Okay, that's a good place to be. Marseille.
He's going to be able to wolf form.
Yep. Trail slides first. Quite the difference.
Just like the battle days.
Now, if there is a hoax, Dracula is almost something to take Emmanuel Hildesheim.
Why do you say that?
I mean, you're right. We could take a Unearthly Swiftness or something, but I mean, it's Emmanuel Hildesheim. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 12 Drac events left in the deck.
Maybe he'll take Summon Storms and go to England. Maybe he'll take Custom Search. You know? They can't get him unless they go to Spain. So when they go to Spain, they'll get searched by the customs guy.
Scotch and Strider both agree that Unearthly Swiftness is better in the end game.
Well, yeah, with Fury of Dracula active,
Yeah.
that's kind of definitely the way to go. Whereas Emmanuel Hildesheim could potentially disappoint. I mean, believe it or not, it has happened. As many times as he nets you 4 cards, sometimes he's like, here you go, here's false tip.
Sensationalist press.
Great Wolf. Yeah, exactly. I've had hoaxes mature and all I get is a Great Wolf out of it. Like,
Great Wolf isn't
never
actually.
really know.
Great Wolf wouldn't actually be awful here.
Okay, well, yeah, it's situational, but it can work.
Um, use Great Wolf on Mina. I don't think she has a host. You could kill Mina with a wolf. Speaking
Okay,
of wolves, we got a wolf form.
Wolf from the Mediterranean. Fury of Dracula is active. He's got 11 health.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's
Well,
go. Let's play some Fury of Dracula, people. What did he mature?
he matured a soil healing 3.
Ah, right. Okay.
Surprising return.
11 did seem a little
And
high.
Aggie is in place, so we're just searching. Okay.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, he might have been clever like that. Seems kind of unlikely.
Yeah, I think I like that search. Um,
He could have been planning for the next thing to be a vampire that matures, wipes Tyranian. Sure.
now you know you can go full bore westward, or maybe full bore westward after you have someone check like
Oh, it's
Milan.
only a 1.
But I have to imagine this situation. Worm is not going to try to be too sneaky. I mean, given
Oh,
the bad hunter movement,
you want
you're
to
in Fury
play it
phase.
safe here,
Yeah.
exactly. You've done your sneaky duty. Yeah, you did your time.
Geo says Milan Law. Like even the thought of that option. Stratus
Yeah,
is
I mean,
Madrid. I have to
that would be
imagine
wacky.
Madrid or Granada would be the obvious choices here. Granada would not be particularly dangerous since there's one hoax in the discard, and likely there's a second host in the deck, um, since there was one before the reshuffle. Oh, I suppose the hoax that is in the discard now probably was the discarded one before, because Mina used it in combat. 17.
That's Constantha.
Oh. So I have to imagine this card in Barn is going to be a vamp. Um, possible that it's like
Vampira
a
Hunt?
fog or something,
Maybe
but
another soil? It could have been a fog. And he was just like, I'll take that soil. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if it's a fog, I could see Worm leaving the fog there, hoping one set hunter would be tasked with taking care of it. But that would be a better outcome for JeelSandWhich right now if that is a fog in Varna. But Geo says CG moment. Strider says Granada is bad, and he has something of a point, but again, it's not a death knell right now, given the hoax in the discard.
Got Heavenly Hosts 1x in the discard. So CG right now would put a big old stamp on. Oh no. You see this, Snuff?
What's that?
See what's happening? He's thinking, oh, it's a trade. It's
Haha.
a trade. He was thinking on Van Helsing's turn for a long time. This is when Dracula is suddenly just like, oh my god. Takes a big exhale.
Yeah. Do you take
You
the
got
forewarned off of Mina? Nope, you do not.
No, she still has it. But does she have CG? There's no way. That'd be ridiculous. She'd
Okay,
be in
that's a
too
good
much
scan.
danger. Eliminate 15, eliminate 54.
Yep.
60 and 24 and 25 were all checked, if I
Oh,
remember
it is a
correctly.
fog.
It is a fog.
That is lucky, not lucky, but putting
You
it in
put
the
it in
castle.
Castle Dracula. That
All
is terrific.
right, style points for Wyrmtalon right there. Okay, well that's good news for Geo. That is one more day he gets to actually be in the game. So,
Yeah, yeah, this is huge.
this is the movement is really killing JeelSandWhich right here, but I mean, there's a lot of hunters around. You know there's only at most one of the fog. Mina has a forewarned. Does someone else have a forewarned? Maybe. It's tricky.
And I'm not going to say that I would have thought of this in the moment, but I think now it, we realize that putting Rufus Smith in might have been a good decision.
Yeah,
Dracula would have taken 3 extra damage, which would
right.
have nullified that desecrated soil. And then if he wants to go to sea now, if you can drive him from Spain, right, and he has to go to sea yet again, that might be game over for him.
All right, so we're gonna go
That
to Madrid here. It was Madrid. Okay.
checks out.
A vamp. Well, that doesn't help very much. The forewarned doesn't do much for you there.
But unless there's a vampire lair kicking around, the ambush fangs isn't gonna make the difference here.
Yeah, Geo, that is not Geo Sandwich, but Geo, aka Jordy, is saying it's strange to not mature the vamp in Bucharest. And he has a point, but I really think that his um, Wormtown's thinking must have been, okay, surely Mr. Sandwich is going to send somebody to deal with this card, this fog. Let him do it. But it was a bad gamble because Jill Sandwich doesn't care. Okay, we've dodged the fangs. That's good. Um, that's good. With that,
Interesting that Dracula was sitting in Varna with fog. He was sitting on top of fog, and he nonetheless went to sea.
mesmerize. Nope. So what do we do now? Do we punch here? Do we dodge again? The old like, will Drac plot, will Drac not plot situation.
Oh man, this is tough. Do you get feisty and whip out some items?
Ooh, the
Yeah,
pistol.
you do.
Oh yeah, we. I'm
You
sorry.
sure
That's
do.
perfect. We knew that
That's
Drac.
just the right
We
card to
knew she
play.
had the pistol. Of course. Well played. Well played, Geo Sandwich.
That
Cancel the
stops
plotting.
stops you from getting plotted on, and it also would stop a clause, which,
Perfect.
you know, was also pretty likely.
Strength to escape.
The advantage is
Well
not there.
played. That is a huge win for Mr. Sandwich right here. Uh,
It's not. It's not just about having a gun. It's about knowing how to shoot it.
yeah. All right, so Mina escapes with no damage dealt to her, and the vamp is now a little bit easier to kill if someone else steps on it. Um, of course, now the trick is figuring out which of one, two, three, four, five spaces Dracula went to after Madrid. You don't have a lot of time to
Yes,
figure it out.
there's quite a few that he could have gone to, and he's proved a tricky beast. But let us not forget that the vampire is ultimately a predictable creature. You see, he would not
Arukmania,
want. He would not want to risk such things like Granada or Alicante.
Aruki, if you're just getting here, just so you know, I'm calling him Mr. Sandwich because Jeel and Geo sounds almost identical, and I just don't want any confusion. Lest you think that our boy Geo Jordy has snuck into the game and slipped into Mr. Sandwich's shoes and get confused, I'm going to call him Mr. Sandwich to eliminate any ambiguity whatsoever. Because that is a lawyer's clarity right there for all of you. Mr. Sandwich it is.
He
And
has our quarry has slunk into 12.
he's
I'm
in
almost
2,
sure.
he's in 12.
He's in
12.
12, Strider means to say. He's
Yep,
slinking
12.
around in Cadiz for sure. The vampire in Spain is, and at this stage in the game, why would he go anywhere else?
Yeah,
Unless
because
he was exceptionally bold and went to Granada, hoping that he could then move on to 12 to get more points out of the situation, right?
Scotswich has
Uh,
impressive combat choices under so much pressure this late on. Completely agree with that.
he kept his head on a
Uh,
swivel.
Mr. Sandwich's plays have been in combat have I think been pretty effective throughout this game. Um, okay, Seward is moving.
You have to move to 12 because if Dracula turns out to not be there, you can cut him off.
Right,
Now,
because Jack can
if
hide there.
Dracula if Dracula is in 12, now he can just go to C.
Well, he only needs two more moves. A vamp layer right now would be really helpful. But if I'm Drac, I might just hide. Then you have to jump on me. I know where one of your forewarns is. And honestly, if Mina jumps on him, he doesn't really care because Mina's pretty beat up, you know? So I'm thinking if I'm Dracula, I'm probably in 12 and I'm probably about to hide. And if you jump on
Ah,
me, you know, you either jump
I
on me with the 3 health Mina or someone else who probably doesn't have forewarns. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. And then you can just move next turn and win. Because the hide will take you to 10.
you could be right, but don't forget things like sense of emergency here or a renewed vigor. The second one could still be live, and if he's able to get more than just Seward and Mina around, that could spell disaster. Ooh,
Well, at least we know he
nice.
was in the bad.
Gotta love a good newspaper report, Night Supply.
Yep, I like the Night Supplies here.
Now,
Um,
option B for Dracula, I think, is just go to the South Atlantic right now. You leave right now. Uh, then you go to the North Atlantic, and oh crap, wolf form's down. Never mind, that might be danger.
yeah,
Uh,
I think it would be.
yeah, that could be pretty bad.
We're pulling for consecrated ground here, I'm thinking, with these Night Supplies.
Yeah,
Although, really, if you don't have CG right this second with Mina, I mean, it wouldn't change the situation, I don't think.
yeah. I mean, even if you Night Supply and get it now, you would have it, but it'd have to be played next turn, and then Dracula would just go to C. But maybe
Hide and then move is, I think, very powerful right now.
maybe it is just really desperate, and he's hoping, okay, if I Night Supply, I could get the CG, then there's a chance we could drive him from Spain, force him to sea. Then he'll have to land, and I'll have the CG in time to air him out and win the game. That could be your only out here. Yeah. So
But
this could be the hide, or this could be the move on to 26. This could be
the style
uh,
point rumor token in Madrid, of course.
naturally the one
Oh,
that
the other
we
thing you
love.
could be fishing for with these night supplies is the vampire lair, because vampire lair could actually have a substantial effect right here.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I have to imagine the prevailing theory here is that it's 12 with something and a fog under hide. Probably a
He
fog and yeah.
he could have also been fishing for the other renewed vigor to activate it at dawn. That would be huge brain.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
would be.
don't have renewed vigor, but if I grab it up
Ooh,
tonight, then in the morning I can play it.
that's
Oh
tough.
my gosh, imagine pulling that off. You would feel so gratified. Okay, here's 12 with hide, just
I
like you
don't
said.
like that because you know that Seward doesn't have a forewarned. I mean, I guess what else are you gonna do? You're not gonna fight him with just Mina.
There's the
Yeah, there's
frog.
the fog. That's Shiji. Nothing you can do there.
Yeah, yeah, that's got to be it. Well, if you have consecrated ground, you could play it tonight.
Um,
Because remember, Madrid will act as as like a token, essentially.
oh,
As
you're
Madrid
right
will
because
act
that can't be
essentially as a heavenly host
misdirected.
token. There's no way he can go back there.
You,
And if you CG 31 and Cadiz and 26, he'll be forced to go to sea. But then he's still gonna win the game at that point, unfortunately. Yeah, that is pretty much game.
yeah, there's your host. You're just playing the host, so even if you were going for the hope of CG, now you don't have the heavenly host tokens for it because you just played it.
And you can't hit Dracula with that either.
So yeah,
Oh right, well Dracula's
if you had
just
gone
gonna
for the
not
CG,
fight.
you're really just playing for a better IDS.
Yeah, maybe moving Mina Harker in first was the right decision, and she would have gotten hurt and stuff, but you could have forewarned the fog, assuming Dracula. Well, Dracula knows she had it, so Dracula wouldn't have activated the fog. He would have just ambushed her with the vampire and fought her at night and killed her. Waiting if Seward moved in, he activates the fog. Yeah, I think maybe the mistake was not getting that forewarned in the hands of Dr. Seward.
So now, if you really wanted to
Maybe
be a
that was
jerk,
the way to go.
since you know there's only one heavenly host out there, you could feed right now, milk the game, get
Good
three more
point.
IDS points, and then move next turn. If you're Wyrmtalon, if you really want to like
I don't think it
min
would make
max
you a
it,
jerk. Yeah, not in a tournament game where the points can potentially
yeah.
make the difference.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that,
Yeah,
but
I know you didn't mean it like that.
but
Like in a negative way. It does kind of draw out the game for your opponent, though, in a way that can be
yeah.
unpleasant, for
But it's
sure.
not what Worm did. He just took his win, a strong, what
Very
is
good
that?
point.
11 health win in the Fury phase. So that's GG. Well played, both. That was an exciting game. A lot of interesting twists and turns to it. It really was, you know, there was a way to maybe get luckier on the positioning, get luckier on the guessing at the end, and could have gone a different way. Um, but an exciting hunt, and that is our second game of the tournament. Very exciting.
Yeah, perhaps the lesson this time is that if you want to win the mini game of the fog forewarned interaction, you gotta surprise Dracula with it, because if it's revealed by Mina Harker, doesn't do you a lot of good even when she's in the mix, right? Because he can just work around that fact.
Yeah.
And there could have been another one potentially, but in this case, Seward didn't have it. I think maybe trying to get it to Seward in time could have potentially put Dracula in a 2-on-1, which is like a Hail Mary, but it's something.
Yeah, I almost would have like traded something on him just to create some doubt in Drax's mind that maybe I don't trigger the fog on Seward because he was just traded something that
Right,
could
or
be
if
a
you
forewarned.
get a trade going with Mina, even you can go here, take this, and I'll take that. Yeah, a little bit of the old shuffling around, and then turns out she still actually has it, and Dracula doesn't know, or something like that. Lots of ways you could go about it. Not that I would have thought of any of that in the moment. Of course, always clarify that with any point that I make about somebody's
Yeah,
play.
and it might not have
It's
done
easy to
anything,
tell when you're watching. Right.
but
Couldn't. What didn't necessarily help. Yeah.
well, to the folks in the chat, thanks for watching. It was an exciting game, and we'll catch you on the next one. Any last words, Captain Gyro, before we sign off?
Thanks everybody for watching, listening to us, and thank you for having me on Snuff. I had a great time.
Yep, always happy to have you. All right, all. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.